Welcome back to the Gurb Performance Podcast, brought to you by the Baseball Blue Book. This is your host, Chase Gerbic, and today we have an extremely exciting guest, Coach Seth Etherton of USC Trojans. Obviously, just a fantastic pitching mind, a great individual, somebody I look up to tremendous amounts, and USC is building something extremely special over there. Coach, thanks for coming on today.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, just to get started, we have so many players on here, who want to play at the next level. And their goal, through middle school and through high school is to find that perfect fit. But for you guys, you're building something special over there at USC, and it's showing. But for kids who want to play at USC, when you're recruiting, what goes into identifying a potential recruit?
For us, I'll speak for me. It depends on, you see how guys handle themselves, how they present themselves, how they look in a uniform first. Obviously the age ranges now from junior, senior in high school. You see younger guys, freshmen, sophomores as well. I think the hardest thing with recruiting and scouting, so to speak, is the projection. That's probably the hardest thing for any professional scout to do. I think for college coaches as well, is projection. So you just have to look at certain things. You look at parents. Hey, how tall is the dad? How tall is the mom? Or those types of things. Whatever you're looking for fits the mold that you're trying to basically fill in terms of your program. So for here at USC, I'm looking for athletes. Bottom line, I want athletes. I think as a staff here, we pride ourselves on baseball development, on and off the field, academics. As well, and just really turn these young men into men by the time they leave here. I think that's very, very important because when you do go into the professional era or the next step in your career, you need to have a lot of things situated in your life. And I know for me speaking, it was eye-opening. It was a huge shift for me. So that's kind of what we do. We know we got to bank on our development and teach these young men how to play the game the right way, but also how to turn them into young men. So back to what we look for. Yeah, I look for athleticism. I look for cleanliness of a delivery. There are certain things usually they could always kind of clean up and work on that are usually very simple. I like arm paths. I want to see how the arm moves and see how the hand accelerates through the ball, the looseness, repeatability, those types of things. I like to see competitiveness. I want to see a guy who fails and continues to move forward. And a lot of young men, after you talk to them, after you see them, they're upset because of the way they play it. I'm like, actually, I'd rather see you fail. And I want to see how you respond to this because it's going to happen again. I promise you, it's going to happen a lot again. So that's a big thing for me. I want to see them on the days they don't feel great. Because 8 out of 10 times you play, you're not going to feel great at all. And you're going to have to figure it out. One time you're going to be lights out, you're going to be unhittable. One time you're going to be absolutely atrocious. But the other 80% of the time, you have to figure something out. So it's really important. And that's where my job comes in here, is to help these guys understand these things, of how to understand who they are, number one. And that's our jobs here, is have them understand who they are. And by the time they leave here, they know exactly who they are and they're ready to go and compete at the highest level.
That's so important. And I think, that goes into the big culture shift, creating a culture of guys, who are going to invest in the process and not be, result oriented. If they have a bad outing, they're selfish, all about themselves and throwing a fit, right? You want guys who are bought in. And so that kind of leads into my second question on the recruiting trail is, obviously you're looking for athletes and guys who are going to be a talented fit for your program. But, what are some things that you look for that are some attributes on the non-baseball side in a recruit?
Well, one thing I noticed as well, when coaching professionally for 7 years, you recognize guys as they come into ballparks. I like to kind of, I'll sit around and watch a parking lot, see how these guys get out of their car. Are they dressed? Is their music blaring? Is their hat on sideways? Are they drooping? Do they look like ball players? Do they not look like ball players? I'm a big believer that you're always going to be assessed as soon as you get out of your car, and by the time you get back in your car, you're going to be watched. You're going to be kind of picked apart. And that's really important, because I want to know the whole person off the field as well. So if you come in prepared and looking like a baseball player, well, then you're pretty organized. I think that a really, really important attribute is how well you do in school. I'm a firm believer that the best baseball players on the field are the best athletes. Now that doesn't go across the board, but I think that when you have someone who is a very good student, he's prepared, he's organized, he has great time management, he has priorities. And that's what we stress here too is, hey, school, you're going to take care of your school and you're going to get a heck of education in the classroom here, but also you can get it on the field. So have these young men understand that everything goes into this. And if you have a good student in high school or in junior college that gets after it and knows how to take care of himself, that's a certain maturity level that you have to have. Right. And, through my experience, you see those are the best guys on the field because they're so well just in sync with what they need to do, and they're prioritized and they hold themselves accountable. And you can go with the accountability phrase that, it is really important. It could be cliche, whatever it is, but it's really, really important. When they hold themselves accountable for certain things, they own it. It's kind of makes all the difference in the world. You're dealing with a young, mature man that's ready for the next step.
I love that. I think it's fantastic too, because you start to bring in guys who hold themselves accountable. Those guys are also going to hold their teammates accountable. And that goes into culture every single time, and being bought into the process. But, for the high schooler looking to play at the college level, I don't think a lot of high schoolers realize, the type of work that goes into excelling in school and priding yourself on time management, staying organized, and competing at the highest level possible. And obviously the day-to-day schedule is different. In college baseball, it's never the same every day. But for players who want to play at the next level, could you kind of go into what the average day in the life looks like for a player at USC?
We kind of separate into the fall and into the spring. In the fall right now, we have 2 lifting sessions. We start at 6 and 7 a.m. So they'll be up at 5:15, 5:30, whatever it is. Hopefully they're getting some fuel in their bodies and getting ready to get after it in the gym. Then they'll, from that point on, so let's say from 8 o'clock to about 12 o'clock, 12 or 1, whatever it is, what their schedule is, that's your academics. You're in class. Then we begin. There's 2 sessions. There's your fall individual practices where you get 4 hours a week. Then next week we start up our 20 hours a week, our actual fall ball, where we have inter squads and things like that. But during the fall, that doesn't change. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're in the gym, 6, 7 to 8 a.m., 6 to 7, 7 to 8. And then they're off to class and they do that. And then we have our individuals for an hour, or when we get team practice, a few hours here. So, and then after that, they'll have their food before, food after, and then they're back to their apartment, hopefully studying and getting right for the next day, prioritizing and trying to stay well structured. That's
awesome. That's so cool, because I think there's so many high school players that like the idea of playing college baseball, but they don't know really what it takes to get in and show up to your lifts early, and be on time for your class and take care of your schoolwork. It's so important, just that preparation. But for you, I want to give you the floor to be able to speak on USC and your experience. Obviously, you guys are building such a tremendous thing over there. I've seen it. A lot of other people have seen what's going on. It's truly impressive. And right now, I think it's the program that you want to be at. So for you, I want to give you the floor to talk about why players should want to come play at USC.
Well, I think for the most part, when you come to USC, you're going to get a staff that truly cares about you as an individual. We care about these young men. We want them to succeed past USC. It's all about building the education on and off the field. It's really, really important to help. Again, like I said, it was taking these young men and turning them into men who are responsible, who can be held accountable, who have integrity. So that's one thing you're going to get here. Actually, coaches that really, really care about you. On the pitching side, for me, relationships number one. We got to have a really strong relationship. And it's really important to build that bond of trust, because once that trust is built, open the gates, and, I can help develop it. And the one thing I think a lot of young men don't understand, especially on the pitching side, is you're always going to be your own best pitching coach. I'm here to assist you. I'm here to help you understand who you are through suggestion. And I think that's how Coach Stanky and Coach Jude, they do their things with Coach Jenkins. And we're really invested in these young men. We want them to be really, really good and really good people. And that's very important to us. And as we build this culture of understanding, I think that's what we did a really good job of last year, of not knowing any of our players. We showed up to a team that we didn't even know.
Right.
And so we had to build those relationships first and get them to buy into exactly what we're doing. Another thing with USC, I would be stunned if you found another staff out there with as much professional and collegiate experience and success that we do. Coach Stankiewicz played for 17 years professionally. He played over 7 years in the big leagues. He coached for the Yankees for a number of years. He's at GCU for 11 years, and now he's here. Coach Jewett, he's been in college baseball for the last 25 years, doing what he's doing at Vanderbilt, ASU. I mean, he's head coach at Tulane. Now he's here at USC. Coach Jenkins, he was at Oregon State where he played. He played professionally for a number of years, got to AAA. Then he went in the college ranks and did his thing. Sergio Brown, he's been in college baseball for 25 years doing his thing. It's just so well known. And I bring 15 years of professional experience of playing, a little over 3 years of big league time. And then on the professional side, this is going to my fourth year of collegiate coaching. And then I had 7 years of professional baseball coaching. So with the Cincinnati Reds. So it's an accumulation of a lot of really good minds and a lot of great experience and success. And I think the one thing that kind of sets us apart is that we can relate to these young men and we're still relative to what they're doing. I know I like to mix it up with them and just be part of it. And one thing I tell the pitchers and the recruits, I said, this is our staff. It's not my staff. This is our staff. It's a collaborative effort. We come together. You tell me what you guys want, what you need, and I'm here to make that happen to the best of my ability. And then I hold them accountable for what I expect them to do. So as a pitcher, you come here, you're going to be organized, you're going to be developed, and you're going to know exactly what the plan is. Our communication is going to be very good, whether it be via text each day. You're going to have a monthly plan of what you do for your individual development plans. And we sit down at my desk and we knock it out. We go through exactly what you want to do, how we're going to do it. And then as I get to learn these young men and how they go about their business each day, catch play for me is very, very important. And so I walk around each guy, talking to them. Hey, what are we working on today? What's your focus? What are you trying to feel? What are you thinking? Teach me about you. That I think that's one thing that's really important is for them. These young men understand is they will be the own best pitching coach, but they need to teach me about you so I can help you as we move along with this. So I understand where you're coming from and just let me know. So our communication's on point and we can move forward with just building the best you can be and coming to work every day to get better. And that's it. We keep it very simple, but we work extremely hard. We condition very hard and we build a very tough blue collar mentality here on the pitching side.
That's fantastic. And for everybody listening, again, you guys need to go check out the USC program. Again, it's just a powerhouse staff. And that's huge for players looking to find the right fit for them, coaches who can communicate and be invested in them, not only on the field, but off the field. And you guys do that so well. And that's just so important, finding programs where the coaches care about you as a person and as a player. But Coach, now they're in the recruiting side, there's the portal, and then you have the high school side. And obviously right now, since COVID backed things up, it is an older game. But for high schoolers, looking to play at that next level, what are some recommendations on your end for them to get their name out there to college coaches?
Well, I think you need to have your high school and club coach on your side. I think it's very important. Obviously, if you're good, you're going to be found. You're going to be seen. I think people talk a lot, and that's kind of what this is. Obviously, every coach can't be everywhere at the same time to see everyone play. So our connections, being able to call coaches, travel or high school coaches, we need to be able to have good relationships with them first. Then they're able to kind of give us their report on certain guys. So whatever they're doing off the field, they need to take care of it. Whether it's going to the gym, taking care of school, you got to be on point with everything because they're dealing and they're competing against a lot of other high school players out there. And again, there aren't big recruiting classes every year. And that's one thing that these young men need to understand, their families, is that if you don't set yourself apart, it's going to be extremely hard, whether it be academically, whether it be your work ethic, how you look, how you play. There are a number of factors that go into it. So, I tell a lot of these young men here that this is such a small window in your life. Some guys are getting ready for the draft this year. Some guys are seniors. I'm like, can we please dedicate these next 7 or 8 months to being all in about what you want to do to achieve your goals? If you want to be drafted, sacrifice these next 8 months to just dedicate to baseball and you and be selfish on this and do as much as you possibly can to be ready so there's no regrets. You put it all on the field you do your thing, you take care of it in the classroom, and that's really, really important. So that's why I say these young high school guys, it's like, can you dedicate these next 2 or 3 years to strictly doing what you want for your future? Because this next step to get to this point is gonna set you up for the rest of your life, and that's the truth. So again, the academics, the work after practice, the work before practice, the communication with the coaches, the being as I guess available to anyone, because that's one thing that I've noticed throughout this. USC makes phone calls. Some kids don't call back. I'm like, are you kidding? Are you serious? So red flag, just be available. If you're interested, be available. If you're not interested, then still be available and say, no, thank you. Just understand that, because it's more than just a player. It also leads to the coach and that program as well. So those are things I would say. Just make sure that you stay on point, you dedicate this time, and you sacrifice whatever you can for your future.
That's fantastic. And I love the point you made about, being where your feet are and executing every single day like it's your last, because you never know when this game's going to end. And if you have high aspirations to, be the best player in college, get drafted, you need to put the work in every single day and make sure you're taking care of the things that you need to take care of. But, for high schoolers coming in, there is typically a separation between the older guys and the younger guys on the physical side. So kind of talk about, the importance of nutrition and, investing themselves in the weight room on the high school standpoint, so they can come into college and be ready to go and ready to compete.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky, because guys mature at different ages. We've had some freshmen last year that came in that were undersized, but It took this full year of playing and getting in the I guess the routine of things, understanding nutrition. And now they've come back this year. It's like, whoa, these guys are going into some strong men now, which it's amazing how that happens. But on the high school side, it's kind of toss up. Some guys are able to do it at a young age where they're a little more mature and they're able to lift more weights. Some guys don't mature until their junior, senior, even past their senior year. And that's just hard to gauge. But whatever you can do, nutritionally, in terms of setting goals, set goals for what you want. If you're a 6'3" position player, whatever it is, and you set goals, I need to be 200 pounds and you're 160 right now. Well, then you need to set goals each month. You need to have a goal each month of how you're going to gain this weight through strength training and calories, and talk to people, talk to professionals about it if you're able to get that knocked out in terms of nutrition and understand calories and the protein intake and carbs and all that stuff. That's really important. So take the time, plan it out, and you'll see drastic results very soon.
So going back to, the recruiting trail, you've talked a lot about USC and how you guys are able to relate with your players and be there for them both on and off the field. So on the player side, when exploring the college route, and for players who are starting to talk with schools, from your experience, how can players make sure that they find the school and the right staff that's best going to fit their needs?
Number one, I go look into schools that have the major you want to go into. Start with academics first. Very, very important. Next, I would look at the baseball program. How do they run things? Is this a staff that you think that could actually make you better and you have a chance to play? Look at these schools and see, do they over-recruit? How many freshmen stay after their freshman year? How many freshmen played their freshman year? Look at the turnover. Are guys getting let go? Are guys just not getting chances? Are guys playing? So you have to do your homework. I'd probably look at the first 2 years, freshman and sophomore year of college players. Just look at their rosters. What's the difference? Look at their stat sheets. Hey, this freshman didn't play first year, didn't play second year, and he's still there. What's going on here? Oh, they brought in. Just look at the recruiting classes. Look at all the new names each year. That's very important. So academics, look at the baseball program. And then see if you have to get on campus. You have to see if that's even an environment that you see yourself being every day. Do your best to go meet your coaches. If this is a place you got to meet, do you want to be with me every day? I don't know. You have to see what kind of my personality is. Do you like to work hard? We're going to work hard here at USC. Is that what you want? Some guys don't. Some guys do. It just there's so many different variables that go into it. Again, are these the type of people I want to be around every day in terms of student body? Are these the kind of people? Is this where I want to live? Do I want to live here? Do I like cities? Do I like, outside cities? Do I like a little more space? There's just a number of variables that go into it. But if you get down to straight baseball, you're not going to get better at USC in terms of player development and success. I challenge you to find a place that's going to be on the rise like we are, just because of our staff and how we go about our business. We do a great job.
Yeah, a great job is an understatement too, for sure. But I think that's so important. A lot of kids just commit for the baseball side or commit solely for, the campus. But it's got to be a blend to make sure that you're going to be happy with all those combinations. And it all goes back to academics. Are they going to have your major? Because if you get injured, are you still going to be happy at that school, right? So there are a lot of variables, and I'm really, really glad that you brought that up. But, although we've already touched on this, just in terms of, USC, there are a lot of other great Division I programs out there. But for you guys have an exceptional staff, beautiful facilities. It's in a great location, and you're extremely competitive. But on the training side, how does USC separate themselves from the pack?
In terms of our training?
Yeah.
Well, you can go to our strength training. Our facilities are unbelievable. Josh Heidegger runs our strength training, which is amazing. We have our dietitian, Bianca Paulus, each guy has their own dietary just plan for what they do. Paul Diaz is our athletic trainer. He's on top of everything that you need in terms of your health and what you need, any kind of rehab stuff, whatever that is. On the baseball field, I tell you what, the one thing that's been really, really great is Coach Stankiewicz. He says, Seth, you got pitching. Travis, you got hitting. Jenks, you got catchers. Go do your job. It's free. You come in, you do your job. He takes care of infield and base running, those things. He works with hitting a little bit here and there. It's just we all have a responsibility, and we are all on the same page with what we're doing. And that's really, really important. We're very efficient. And again, we are precise in what we do. We have our style of play with the players that we have. And as we build this thing, we continue to get our recruits in that we're handpicking. I think, you're going to start seeing us getting a lot of the top recruits in the nation now, just because of what we're doing. We are getting a new stadium here. That's going to open up in spring of 26. So we'll be without a home field for the next 2 years, but we're in the process of finding a stadium that we could use that we can call home for us, which is going to be, it's going to be amazing as well. So things are just on the up and up here. Obviously, football's doing what football's doing. Our women's volleyball team won 3 in a row. You just look at all the sports here at USC, they're thriving. And, we just got our new AD and Jen Cohen, and she came from University of Washington, and she's hit the ground running and just doing a fantastic job. And she's dedicated to sports, and she's a huge baseball fan as well. So we got a lot of support here, and with Coach Stankiewicz at the helm, we're going to do some very impressive things.
Let's go. That is awesome. That's great to hear on the new stadium too. It's been a long time coming for you guys. I'm so glad that's being put in. But for you on the pitching side, you're very, very good at what you do, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of pitchers now interested coming to USC because you're there and you're instructing those pitchers, and there's a lot of trust behind what you do. So for pitchers who are interested in USC. Obviously, there are a lot of young guys who focus on just throwing hard, but to be a complete pitcher, there's more than that, right? So for you, talk about what goes into being a complete pitcher and what you look for in pitchers who want to come play at USC.
I mentioned before, I look for athletes. I want to see guys who move well. I like dual role guys that hit, play short, whatever it is. I love guys that play other sports. I truly believe that you get a well-rounded athlete, the development is limitless. You can do a ton with it. Especially, I think the big reason is because they know their bodies really well as it is, and they're able to make those adjustments, that aptitude to be able to make adjustments and know how their body feels and do certain things because they've done these movements.
Right.
Everything here is individualized with my pitchers. From their throwing programs to their strength programs, we do everything that's based for them specifically. One thing I learned, and Randy Sullivan wrote a great book, The Armory, he talked about hyper individualization. I was like, oh, thank goodness someone's finally said it. He came out and he said it. It's like, there's no cookie cutter here in baseball. Everyone moves differently. And so that's how I've always kind of approached my coaching, and really getting into the minds of these young men, and just having them explain to me what they're feeling, what they're thinking. I think that's really, really important, because the best seasons of my career were always the best relationships I had with my pitching coach or coaches. Right. The worst seasons were the ones I had the worst relationships. So I take that wholeheartedly. And to be honest with you, that's the basis for how I do things. If these guys are excited and comfortable and really, really geared up to get better, and they know I have their back every day and I want to help them achieve what they want to get, they're excited every day to come to the ballpark. I've been on those teams where it's awful to go to the ballpark, but I just want to make sure they're excited to come learn and get better each day, and just have that camaraderie and understand which path that we're going towards in terms of fighting for national championship here very soon. So that's one thing. Wow. They hold the reins of their career. They get to tell me what they want, and I'm here to assist them on that. They'll have ideas, and we put it to paper, we put it on the field, we put it in, and we just start talking, whether it be a delivery issue. That's one thing we don't talk about here. I learned from the Reds, and Derek Johnson did a great job with this, is we don't talk about mechanics. We talk, it's very robotic sounding. We talk about deliveries, that loose athletic movement, sequential order of delivery, weight transfer, direction. That's what I talk about. We want to make things as simple as possible here, so there's no confusion, and these players know exactly what direction they're going on a daily basis. They're going to get better. I won't allow them not to get better every day. I hold them accountable. They hold me accountable. So that's how we do things here. In terms of bullpen work, one thing I took from the Reds too, we talked about over the rubber, over the plate. Today we're going to work over the rubber simply on your delivery. Fine, I don't care where the ball goes. I want you to feel certain things, be athletic and feel things. Then another time we can even split it, over the rubber, over the plate, where over the plate's more the execution on how we go about our business. And then we just have a straight execution over the plate day where we're competing, we get mentally into these things, and we do certain things. So the structure of bullpens is very important. I was very thankful to learn that on the pro level with Derek Johnson, the Reds, and it's helped. Health for me is number one. And I can honestly tell you that if I didn't have the shoulder surgery, if I didn't have the Tommy John, if I didn't have the knee surgery, I probably wouldn't be here today, because that's kind of been the encompassing, the program that I put together for these young men, is to have them really understand what their body's doing and have them understand what their body should be doing. Again, everyone moves differently, so that's where their voice comes in and plays a huge part in their own development. And they just need to accept that and understand that, because I ask a lot of questions. They may get tired of me asking questions about them, but they're going to have to step up and answer those questions, because I believe the more you talk about it, the more you're able to kind of sense it and feel it, and you're able to put it to words. It means you're actually processing things. So that's how we do it. And, for me on the health side, again, is, hey, coach, I'm hanging a little bit today. I'm going to take this. All I want to do is, hey, fine. You tell me. I can never feel what you feel. I can never think what you think. I'll never put you in a position to where you're uncomfortable in terms of how you're feeling. And again, I think it's just from my own experience of going through things. And my job on the other side is to teach them how to be relentless and how to go out there and attack and be just a heck of a competitor. And I tell these guys, building monsters here. We just want to build monsters. It's mentality. It's how we go about things. And they've been doing a great job. They bought in, and they work extremely hard, and they hold each other accountable.
That's fantastic. And what's cool is that it always goes back to that relationship you have with your player and your coach. It's a two-way street. If both are bought in, it's just going to be exceptional, just the things both are going to be able to accomplish. But Coach, it's been such a pleasure for you to come on here. Obviously so grateful, and I'm sure all these players and parents who are tuning in are going to come away with so much knowledge on the recruiting trail and what it takes to play college baseball. But for the last portion here, I want to be able to give you the floor. Anything that you want to say to close this thing out?
Well, I think being back at USC, my alma mater, is fantastic. I got to give the majority of the credit to my wife and my children, who have been on this ride with me through my professional career, and getting back to the collegiate level. It's been something else. They've been very, very patient, and they've been my support system this whole time. So I owe my wife everything. She's done an amazing job raising our children and educating them. So She's a homeschool teacher, has her master's from USC, and she's the smartest woman I know, and she's just an amazing, amazing human being, and I love her more than anything. So I give her all the credit to this.
That's so awesome. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, this is Seth Etherton, pitching coach at USC. If you haven't already, please go check out USC Trojans baseball program. Fantastic what they're building. It's a powerhouse staff, and they are bringing in not only great people, but great players as well. So they're bringing in just high-quality people, high-quality players, and they're doing such a great job. Coach, thank you so much for coming on today.
Jace, I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's go. How was that?